So we don't have to excuse Commissioner Slade.
We do. I would excuse your...
From both of them? Yeah.
Did they start out from school, or is it a school, or
No, in any church.
Yeah. You all set? So here we go, a few minutes late. Sorry about that. So nice to see everybody here in the chambers this evening. Some of my favorite people are here, and I'm looking forward to some of the proclamations we have on our agenda. But in order to get started, I have to officially call this meeting of the Kalamazoo City Commission to order for Monday, March 16th, 2026. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradle.
Present.
Commissioner Slaby. Commissioner Wilson. Present. Vice Mayor Duncan. Here. Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. I would first like to ask for an excused absence for Commissioner Jay Slaby, and I'd like to take care of this now for our Committee of the Whole meeting as well as for this meeting at this time. Can I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Jay Slaby?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Pradle, supported by Commissioner Hess. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now I would like to excuse Vice Mayor Drew Duncan from the Committee of the Whole meeting that just happened. He had another event prior to this meeting, which he let me know about. Is there a motion to excuse Vice Mayor Duncan?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Pradle.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Wilson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passes. We are blessed for this opening ceremony this evening to have Pastor David Kanaversky here from the Calvary Bible Church. And as he comes up to the podium here to provide us with an invocation, I will ask everyone in the chambers please to stand and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, dear Lord, we thank you for gathering each of us here this evening. You've gathered each of us tonight to discuss issues concerning those in and around Kalamazoo. Each discussion requires wisdom and much thought. James tells us in James 1:5 that anyone lacks wisdom to ask God. So, Lord, we ask that you grant each of us in this room, especially our commissioners, to have wisdom and discernment concerning decisions and discussions, praying that these decisions will reflect justice, fairness, thoughtfulness, and considerations for those in our community. Help them to avoid partiality and achieve outcomes that honor you and serve those around them. In Proverbs 11:14, you tell us that where there is no guidance that the people fail, but in our abundance of counsel there is safety. Therefore, Lord, that we surround our members here with wise advisors and good unity today. But this is done when we each work together and listen to diverse perspectives and understanding moral perspectives. Allowing our leaders to seek advice, value those who have expertise, and promote teamwork, which ensures stability in our community. But it also tells us in Proverbs 16:3 to commit our work to you, and our plans will be established. So as they commit their work to the evening, that should be foster benefits to all and reflect integrity, accountability, and service leadership. In this time of prayer, though, we should demonstrate a dependence on you rather than ourselves and provide clarity, foresight, and alignment with ethical and community-focused goals. You also tell us in Proverbs 21:1 tells us that the king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord, and God turns it wherever he wills. Therefore, Lord, guide the hearts and decisions of our council members. We trust their hearts would be towards fairness, integrity, and trusting in you. James also tells us in 3:7 that wisdom is from above, and it's first pure and then peaceable. It's gentle, open to reason, full of mercy, and of good fruit. We trust that wisdom that comes from God will result tonight in those solutions that are peaceable and outcomes that are considerate to those here in our city and our community. Psalm 19:14 tells us that the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart be acceptable in your sight, because you are God our Lord. You are our rock and our Redeemer. Therefore, Lord, we'd ask that you guide every word and thought in this meeting tonight. It would bring speech that honors you and that it produces constructive discussions and righteous resolutions. Help all that speak to do so with words that are careful, respectful, that foster good collaboration and outcomes that honor God and one another. You also tell us in Philippians 4:6 and 7 that we should not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let our requests be known to you, God. Therefore, remove from this room maybe anxious thoughts or actions that allow calmness to those who are here today, especially our commissioners, and that this can be done by trusting you and not in our own underself, not in ourselves. And lastly, in Isaiah 58:10, Lord, you tell us to pour ourselves out for the hungry and satisfy the desires of the afflicted, which allows our light to shine in a place of darkness. Help us, Lord, to serve there for the needy and the vulnerable. Help our leaders in this community reflect God's care and allow us to be a bright light in our city by the transformation of others through Jesus Christ, who is the author and finisher of our faith. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it and getting us started on the right foot. So we do have a variety of guests here with us, but I think they're going to be mostly acknowledged during our proclamations. Once again, one of the parts of our commission meeting that I do really enjoy is this proclamation section, and we have 3 proclamations, I would say important proclamations, in front of us this evening, and I think those are going to be read by in a row here by the 3 commissioners to my left. The first one is, they're great, and I appreciate the recognition, but the first one to me is such an absolutely meaningful thing that we recognize, and it's astounding to me now, because I remember when this got started that it has actually been 10 years that we've been doing this work, and I think it is profoundly impactful work. I really, really appreciate the public safety's deep partnership with pastors here in this community to do that important work. This crew is on call. It's just not, well, I'll just be available from 8 to 5. This crew of individuals is on call when there's critical incidents that happen, when people are suffering. And it's very helpful for public safety to have this kind of support and backup. I think the chief would agree with that. So I'm going to head down with the proclamations. First one, Pastors on Patrol 10-year anniversary.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just have to say that knowing public safety as I do for these last 6.5 years, it does take faith to do this job. And I appreciate all the Pastors on Patrol for what you do. This proclamation is Pastors on Patrol 10-year anniversary. Whereas 10 years ago, a program called Pastors on Patrol was created within the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety with the intent to increase trust between residents and police, diffuse tense situations, and enhance public safety. KDPS turned to Pastor Greg Jennings to lead this program, and he has done so effectively for the past 10 years. And whereas, as the originator of Pastors on Patrol, Pastor Jennings has significantly enhanced the work of the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety by infusing faith, spirit, and purpose into public safety efforts. He has successfully attracted pastors from across the city and united them around a shared mission to serve the community. His leadership has strengthened KDPS' ability to connect with diverse community members and deliver a higher level of service to those our officers serve. And whereas, as the leader of Pastors on Patrol, Pastor Jennings brings a unique and valuable perspective, providing officers with guidance, encouragement, unwavering support. And whereas, over the past 10 years, Pastor Jennings has forged positive, lasting relationships between KDPS and the community, helping to remove longstanding barriers and build trust. His service to the community has been steadfast, and through Pastors on Patrol, he has expanded his impact, benefiting both citizens and officers alike. And whereas, one of the many highlights during this time was the creation of the Gun Amnesty Program, an initiative promoting collaboration between law enforcement and local organizations, reflecting a shared commitment to public safety. The program's success is largely due to the engagement of Pastor Jennings and Pastors on Patrol members who provided safe and trusted locations for firearms to be turned in. Now therefore, on behalf of the 56th City Commission and David F. Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, I do hereby congratulate and celebrate Pastor Jennings and Pastors on Patrol for 10 years of positive impact on the citizens and public safety officers in the City of Kalamazoo. Congratulations, Pastor Jennings and Pastors on Patrol.
Mayor, we gladly accept this proclamation, and we're so honored to have it. And I am so grateful and thankful to all of you who trust enough in us to continue to allow us to work in this wonderful city. I want to say to Commissioner Hoffman, a few years ago when I presented Pastors on Patrol, one of the questions that you asked, what about females? Well, I'm here tonight to say that on last week, we just added our first female Pastors on Patrol. She was not able to be here tonight, but we're so grateful to have her join us, and her name is Rabbi Strichter. And so I wanted to share that, and to all of these pastors that are here, we can't do this by ourselves. And we are here to help lift up the city of Kalamazoo and continue to work. And I want to say thanks to our Chief David Boyson, for continuing to allow us to be a presence in this city. Thank you very much.
Chief Boyson, come and be in the picture.
On the back row. Sure.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, our next proclamation, we're going to be recognizing Guys Who Give, who just recently had a pretty spectacular milestone. They surpassed $500,000 that they've raised since 2017 for local nonprofits. At their first quarter meeting here, they raised over $20,000 in one night for loaves and fishes, just knowing that there's a lot of food insecurity in our community as well. So let's get started. Whereas the mission of Guys Who Give Kalamazoo County Chapter is to bring together local men committed to making a meaningful and immediate impact in the community by supporting area nonprofit organizations through quarterly giving events. And whereas each quarter, members of Guys Who Give come together for just 1 hour to commit to contribute $100 each, and through a simple but powerful model of nomination and voting, deliver impactful funds directly to local 501c3 organizations serving Kalamazoo County. And whereas since its founding in August 2017, the local Guys Who Give chapter has grown to such a vibrant philanthropic giving circle that the organization has demonstrated extraordinary results that can be achieved when individuals unite around a shared values of generosity, fellowship, and community service. And whereas at the conclusion of its first quarter 2026 event on February 11th, Guys Who Give Kalamazoo County chapter has officially surpassed the milestone of raising over $500,000 for nonprofits serving Kalamazoo County, a testament to its members' generosity, commitment, and collective impact. Now, therefore, the City of Kalamazoo hereby recognizes and commends the achievements of Guys Who Give, celebrating this remarkable philanthropic milestone of raising over $500,000 for the betterment of the community. We honor the spirit of service exemplified by its members and express gratitude for their contributions to strengthen the fabric of Kalamazoo County. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Anderson, commissioners, city staff, for this incredible honor and for taking a moment tonight to recognize Guys Who Give of Kalamazoo County. On behalf of our members, I want to say how grateful we are to be a part of a community where generosity is a part of the culture and where neighbors are willing to step up for one another. Guys Who Give started back in 2017 with a really simple idea. Get average Joes from the community together for 1 hour, once a quarter. Each person gives $100, and we pool that support into a single, high-impact gift for a Kalamazoo County nonprofit. No fancy overhead, no complicated structure, just guys showing up, learning about local organizations, and putting their resources to work right here at home. Since then, as Chris mentioned, the simple model has turned into more than $500,000 given to nonprofits across our community, supporting 35 organizations, working in areas such as youth development, basic needs, education, housing, and much more. That number represents far more than just dollars. It represents stories, families, and organizations that were able to go a little further because a group of men decided to act. I also want to recognize nonprofit leaders and teams in this community. They are on the front lines every day, doing the hard work that makes Kalamazoo a place we're proud to call home. And we see Guys Who Give as just one small way to stand behind them and say thank you. They are truly the best part of what we do. Thank you again for the recognition and for the partnership in strengthening Kalamazoo County. And thank you, Commissioner Pradel, of course, for helping to raise attention for this great milestone. Thank you. Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just a second. Let's do it one at a time, so you know what camera to look at.
Paparazzi here.
All right, thanks again.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Hey guys. Thanks so much.
All right, next up, we're recognizing Sunshine Week and the advancement of open government. Do I have anyone here in the chambers to accept this proclamation? All right. Whereas the City of Kalamazoo recognizes that open, transparent, and accessible government is an essential foundation of civic trust and effective democratic self-government. And whereas Michigan citizens benefit when governmental decisions, actions, and records are accessible to the public and to those who report on government to the on the public's behalf. And whereas while Michigan's open records and open meetings laws are among the state's core accountability frameworks, observers and advocates have noted that higher fees, delayed responses, and limited statutory access in some areas can impede timely public access to information. And whereas the City of Kalamazoo acknowledges that the spirit of open government calls not only for lawful compliance, but also for thoughtful, proactive efforts to enhance transparency and public engagement wherever reasonable and consistent with applicable laws, privacy protections, and sound administration. And whereas Sunshine Week, observed nationally from March 15th, 2026 to March 21st, 2026, is a civic initiative that encourages communities and institutions to reflect on the importance of open government public access to information, and the critical role of an informed public. And whereas the City of Kalamazoo supports opportunities to educate residents, community groups, and journalists about their rights of access and to strengthen public understanding of how local governments function. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Kalamazoo, I do hereby proclaim the City of Kalamazoo's support for Sunshine Week 2026 and reaffirm its commitment to principles of transparency, accountability, and public service that go beyond mere compliance with law to foster meaningful access and engagement in the City of Kalamazoo. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Ben Lando. I'm with Now Kalamazoo, and on behalf of my colleagues at Now Kalamazoo and the local journalism foundation, and all the journalists who cover the community, and the people of Kalamazoo who file Freedom of Information Act requests to have access to their information, I want to thank you for recognizing this. Government is messy. It's intended to be that way. It's intended to be slow and deliberate. And that's why journalists and the people and the government have to figure out ways of common cause to make sure that the population is as informed as it can be about things that they are voting on or things that they're going to come up here to speak about in local government, countywide, statewide. And we appreciate all the work that goes into it, even if we don't always agree on what should be released in Freedom of Information Act requests, or we don't really always like that we're calling you up and asking you questions about topics. But that's part of the messiness of government, to be deliberate that way. And to make sure that we all have access to the constitutionally protected, God-given rights that we all are enjoying. Every year, multiple times a year, we hold Freedom of Information Act trainings by Now Kalamazoo, and especially during Sunshine Week. Our next one is this coming Saturday, the 21st, at the Ostromo branch of the Kalamazoo Public Library. We'll have lots of programming as well as tacos. It's tacos, right? Reed, that's right. Tacos available as well. It's free to register to attend. It's on our website, nowkalamazoo.org, and we have a big project. Anybody in Kalamazoo County can participate, and it will be a county-wide effort to do a community FOIA request. Sorry to the city attorney for processing all of these that might come your way. Not sorry, but just a heads up on the extra workload, I should say. But thanks for your attention and your support of the work that we all are doing. Thank you.
All right, it was great to do that. I'm happy to go through that. And just a reminder, I know through our attorney's office, we process thousands of Freedom of Information Act requests here every single year. And I don't like to say disparaging things necessarily about our other political partners here in Michigan, but the governor's office or the legislature does not have to comply with Freedom of Information Act requests. And I guess I'll just say, implore you please to do something about that. I think every single election cycle, everybody runs on transparency. For some reason, it hasn't gotten done. I'll just say, yeah, it's rough, but it's not that bad. Let's go for it. So Anyway, that's what we got going here. Now we are down to adoption of the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items on G, the consent agenda, that you would like to have moved to H on the regular agenda? All right, seeing none, the agenda stands as it is. Next, communications. Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. One item that I'll share at this point, the commission asked us to come back with some information on a topic of interest regarding safe routes to schools. We had meetings in communities. This is the Howard Street, it's the crosswalk, Howard Street. Thank you. And so wanted to share with you that staff had a chance to hold some coffee and crosswalk open house meetings with the Vine Neighborhood Association earlier this month. Valuable information to hear from community. You'll hear later on today from our director about some of the work that's being done and the options available to us. And so this is just a reminder that you asked for us to engage community, and there's still opportunity for their feedback to be taken even after tonight's item. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now is the opportunity for public comments. Anyone who is here in the chambers has an opportunity to comment on any topic of their choice, agenda-related or not. You'll have 4 minutes. Please come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city. And I will remind you, this sometimes can feel slightly awkward. This is not a time when we get into dialogue, but it is your time to present information in public and to the commission you think is important. So please come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kyle Patnaud. I'm a resident of the Edison neighborhood. I'm speaking as a representative of the Get the Flock Out of Kalamazoo campaign. Our goal is to convince those in power that this is one of the easiest ways to protect our community. Mass surveillance is a reality in our daily lives. Cameras like those from Flock Safety and Ring that are installed in our city are touted to reduce crime through the threat of being constantly surveilled, although there is not strong evidence to support this as a deterrent. By creating a digital fingerprint of every individual, the cameras recognize, storing information on license plates, car information, facial recognition, using artificial intelligence and time and location stamps, these cameras connect to a larger mass surveillance network to monitor every individual in the city. KDPS claims that these records can't be accessed by federal law enforcement, but records can still be requested with or without a warrant. It only takes one judge that works in these agencies' favor to get access to this data. The servers for these cameras aren't stored in Kalamazoo, yet KDPS claims that this sensitive data is safe. How are we as citizens to be assured that this data isn't being accessed by hackers, federal law enforcement, and tech companies like Palantir that are compiling massive amounts of data to be used for unethical practices like selling to the highest bidder or even more nefarious doings? Ultimately, data is still under the oversight and ownership of the Flock surveillance system itself to sell the data to third parties regardless of local regulations and ordinances. The disruptive and violent policy of the Trump administration in regards to immigration enforcement has wreaked havoc in communities across the country. From Chicago to LA to Minneapolis and many other localities between, we have seen a sickening display of racism, sorrow, and an all-out attack on democracy. The Flock cameras in our community, when wielded by the jackbooted thugs of the DHS and CBP, are a terrifying tool that puts a chilling effect on immigrant communities of all stripes. I am proud that Kalamazoo is such a diverse community of people from all over the world who want to call our community home. Allowing this presidential administration to continue their fascistic reign of terror over our immigrant neighborhoods, as well as anybody who sympathizes with them, is an abdication of duty to protect the citizens of Kalamazoo. Removing these devices is the first and easiest step in taking a stand against these trespasses. Pregnant people in Michigan have the right to an abortion, for now. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022, pregnant people living in states that banned abortion have become nearly 2 times as likely to die during pregnancy, childbirth, or soon after giving birth, compared to pregnant people living in supportive states where abortion was legal and accessible. Mortality of pregnant people rose 56% in Texas in the first full year of the state's abortion ban. Black pregnant people living in banned states were 3.3 times as likely to die as white pregnant people in those states, who are more likely to be able to travel for care or have other access to abortion care. Given these facts, it is not surprising that people will travel out of a state where abortion is illegal to somewhere that it is still a human right. A 404 Media article by Joseph Cox and Jason Kobler revealed that a Texas police officer used over 83,000 flock cameras around the nation to track down a woman who left the state to seek abortion health care and bring her to justice. Did you know that there are flock cameras in Kalamazoo right in front of Planned Parenthood? Do you think that's acceptable given how the cameras have already been used? What happens to a teenager from Indiana who isn't ready to raise a child and seeks care in Kalamazoo? How would you feel if your cousin from Oklahoma had a pregnancy with complications and came to Kalamazoo to become healthy but was prosecuted?
Thank you. Next, please. See no one else. Yep, please come forward. Please.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get myself together. So much going on. So I'm here today to talk about Arcadia Festival site. I've been coming for a long time to talk about the use of ARPA funds, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. Back in 2021, communities received money to help with the impacts of COVID. And the city of Kalamazoo decided to use that money back in 2024 despite the community protesting. The city decided to bring that project forward because the ARPA money was the money that was going to be used to secure the rest of the funding for Arcadia. Without that funding, it would have been harder for y'all to get that funding that was received from Arcadia, right? And so this started back in 2021, and with the rich. And I want to say this, and the interesting parties, back in 2021, they met at the Anna Winton Hall to empower KDPS to try to sweep the unhoused from Arcadia, despite COVID restrictions. Unhoused residents left in tears at the hate and harmful narratives. The organizers of this meeting had a panel of nonprofits, which they pointed to try to paint the narrative that unhoused people didn't want the help. Many residents pushed back on this narrative, and social workers spoke about the realities and downfall of these resources, as well as the lack of empathy and care. And so that was back in 2021, and then in 2023, Notre Dame finalized a study about Arcadia, which actually spoke about the unhoused and said that that was a necessary place for unhoused people to take shelter. Okay, despite this, the city went ahead and decided to use this money. Okay. And I want y'all to understand that COVID-19 did not impact everybody the same, okay? It did not impact unhoused people the same. It did not impact the Black and Latino indigenous populations, which face higher rates of infection, hospitalization, economic hardship, due to the systemic inequalities in healthcare, housing, employment. And this money could have been used for some of these things, okay? And the COVID-19 impacts were so bad on Black and brown communities that in 2022, Oprah Winfrey came out with a documentary called The Color of Care, which was a powerful film that exposed the deep-seated racial disparities in healthcare in the U.S. that led to the tragic consequences during the pandemic-19, the death of Black and brown people, okay? So hopefully I'm not all over the place and y'all are following me, okay? This is why the ARPA money was important, because we had a housing crisis back when COVID-19 was raging in Kalamazoo. We also faced the same shortages as the rest of the county, with the shortages in hospital beds, the shortages in ventilators, the shortages in shelter, the death rates, right? And the ARPA money had specific guidelines for how this money should be used, right? under capital expenditures, which is the loophole that the city used to say, well, you know what, Parks is under capital expenditure, 20 points down. So, but before that, it gave us a specific list of things that this money could be used for: laboratories, vaccines, acquisition of equipment, recovery housing, temporary residences. The guidelines compliance talked about responding to the COVID-19 as an emergency, as urgent needs, putting that money, implementing that money fast in the community, and the city sat on that money and acted like they had to use it. I was witness to this, that y'all just had to use this money, however, and now we just have to put it to Arcadia. Arcadia is the catalyst of the gentrification concentration in Kalamazoo, because without the renovations of Arcadia, y'all would not have been able to put that arena down there. Y'all needed the infrastructure updating, just like you needed over there on the other side where y'all did all those infrastructure improvements, right? That is the catalyst. We have a concentration of gentrification in the city of Kalamazoo, and y'all need to pay attention to what the fuck is going on in the city, okay? Because unhoused people are suffering every day. And all of a sudden, y'all want to have festivals again. How would you put up that fence and unhoused people froze to death? And now you want to don't have your festivals at this site. It is gentrification, okay?
Thank you. Next, please.
Listen to what I'm saying, because they are building so much downtown. It is for the rich.
Next, please.
That house no longer can be downtown.
It is a shame that fence has been up all winter. Once again, our unhoused friends are being displaced with nowhere to go. Yes, it's a park, and you guys have ordinance that you don't want them in the park, but it was also that ARPA money should have been used what it was meant for, not updating a park. That is not a need. That is not important. What's important is human lives, a place for humans to go, a place for humans to live, a place where humans can eat. Our children are just as effective as others in this community. So once again, the question is, when it's time to make money, that's when the fence wants to come down. That's what's important here. It's money, it's greed, it's selfishness. That fence shouldn't have been up. But if you wanted to put it up, all that money that you're spending throughout Kalamazoo, build a shelter. All these vacant buildings around here are being just sat there. The old DHS building, that could have been provided some type of shelter. But instead of putting the money where it needs to go, you're building nonsense. You're building stuff to make white, rich people happy. Why isn't our unhoused important to y'all as it is to us? Do they deserve not to have a place? Do they deserve to live out on the street, looked down on? Do they deserve to be treated like trash, like some of our KDPS officers do? People that live in some of those nice apartments down there, piss on them. What if that was somebody that you were related to? Your daughter, your mother, your father, especially those that have served this country. Is that fair? That's not. That is disrespectful. And to me, Anderson, you got to learn to shut the fuck up sometimes and just listen, because what you're doing always isn't important. You should not make everything about you. When we're in meetings with you, or you just need to listen, learn to be quiet. This is what we teach our children so they can learn and listen. Not everything you do is so important. Some of the things that you've done have caused harm to this community. The sweeps in 2021 caused harm to our unhoused community, caused harm to our activists. That's not okay. What's important is we're all human beings around here. We all deserve the right to have a home, the respect. This commission is not getting it. What is important to y'all? Money or lives? Because our children are out there, and do they deserve to be out there? We are seeing this year round, year after year after year. It has been coming worse and worse and worse. When is enough enough? It should have been enough a long time ago. You have so many people on this board that have housing backgrounds. Use that knowledge. Reach out to those in the community that really care and want to help instead of making it about yourself. You're not important, because if you were, you would be ashamed of yourself. This community deserves better. Do better, hold each other accountable.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ben Brown. I live on the east side. Want me to move this up? Okay, so you can hear me. Okay. I have just two things I hope to share briefly. This past week, we had a plume of smoke and fire. Fortunately, a lot of Kalamazoo wasn't affected. I thought it was burning plastic. I kind of wished in a perfect world that we had had an alert system, or they had chosen to alert us. I was a little concerned about two women that walked down to see what it was. I ended up using a mask to finish what I was doing and headed in, and I had an air purifier, so I felt I was fortunate. The other thing, so that's one item I just wanted to mention. And the other one is, I was interviewed about a week and a half ago about shared housing. And it's a report that eventually you all will get. And I was very thankful for that opportunity. I'm hoping that it will be of benefit in decisions that you're making. And I was very thankful for that opportunity. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers who would like to take this opportunity? Seeing no one. Next is the consent agenda. Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. The following items are presented for approval. Item G1, approval of a 2-year professional services agreement with Traffic Tech Services, LLC, for technical traffic-related work in the amount of $50,000. Item 2, approval of a contract extension with Dale W. Hubbard, Inc., for disposal of Vector spoils in the amount of $135,725. 3, approval of a cooperative contract with Spawn Ranch, Inc., for the purchase of drawings, materials, and labor to construct a bicycle pump track at Verbeck Park in the amount of $140,000. 4, approval of a professional services agreement with O'Boyle, Cowell, Blaylock, and Associates, Inc., for design services and construction administration from Millen Park Improvement in the amount of $140,445. Item G, approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Whitman Associates for the design of the Kalamazoo Avenue two-way street conversion in the amount of $165,900. 6, approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Rathco for the 2026 rental of traffic control devices in the amount of $250,000. 7, approval of a contract supplemental change order with Ferguson Waterworks for Neptune water meters in the amount of $269,889.60. 8, approval of a sole source purchase with Centrisis for equipment lease and testing equipment in the amount of $171,000. 9, approval of a contract with Anlin Corporation for the Kilgore Portage Shared Use and Path Project in the amount of $516,528. 10, adoption of a resolution approving the submission of a state high water infrastructure grant application to the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. 11, adoption of resolutions adopting amendments to the budget and acceptance of informational reporting on capital project carry forwards And 12, approval of the following nominations for appointment and reappointments to the Foundation of Excellence Board of Directors. The reappointment of Adrian Vasquez Alatorre as the Affinity Nonprofit Stakeholder Director for a 3-year term ending on May 31st, 2029. The reappointment of Ida Salas as Business Banking Stakeholder Director for a three-year term ending on May 31st, 2029. The appointment of Jose Alex Mejia as Arts Sector Stakeholder Director for a 3-year term ending May 31st, 2029. The appointment of Isabella Robinson as Neighborhood Stakeholder Director, East Side, for a 3-year term ending on May 31st, 2029. And approval of the appointment of Luke Zimmer to the, item 13, approval of the appointment of Luke Zimmer in the Environmental Concerns Committee for a term expiring on January 1st, 2027. And item 14, approval of the minutes from the City Commission meetings on March 2nd, 2026.
Thank you very much, Manager Hankins. Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1 through 14 and authorize the city manager to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Praedel.
Support.
Did I miss it?
Support.
Supported by Vice Mayor Duncan. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Praedel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items on the consent agenda are approved. We are now on to H, our regular agenda. City Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Item H1, adoption of a resolution approving MDOT contract number 25-5691 for Winchell Avenue and Howard Street infrastructure improvements through the Safe Routes to School grant in the amount of $47,367.
Thank you, Manager Hankins. Is there a report on this item?
Actually, Mayor, there is, and there's our Public Services Director, James Baker, is here, as well as other staff to present on it.
Welcome, Director Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to thank the City Commission and City Manager, City Attorney for this opportunity to present. This item was brought before the City Commission previously. We needed to kind of go back to the community, spend some more time on engagement. We have done that. I'd like to thank the Vine Neighborhood Association for allowing us to meet there at their facility. We had 2 different public meetings last week that were very successful. And above all, I want to thank the community members who took time out of their day to come forward and meet with us, share with us their perspectives, share with us their observations and some of their recommendations going forward. So I've got a just very brief presentation and kind of step through what our recommendation is tonight, and then how do we plan to work to make those community recommendations that we heard a successful part of this project going forward. So just to touch, the projects are 2 projects, one related to Maple Street Magnet School, the other one related to Winchell Elementary. So both of those projects are together in this recommendation moving forward. The Maple Street Magnet School project is related to the Howard at Merrill pedestrian crossing, and then the Winchell Elementary project is related to work on Winchell Avenue, specifically the south right-of-way sidewalks. Looking now at that Howard at Merrill pedestrian crossing, there was a crossing proposed in this work originally that was located about 575 feet west of the intersection with Merrill. We heard from community members who had concern with that proposed crossing. We plan to continue to engage with community members. We also have meetings scheduled with Kalamazoo Public Schools. Our focus of those meetings, both with Kalamazoo Public Schools and with the community members, is to design a location, so where that crossing is, that cross section, what does that look like, what are the features of it, and then any traffic control devices at that location. So things like rapid flashing beacon or hawk signal or something like that. Those are all things we're committed to work on moving forward. Community members also expressed some concerns with lighting, street lighting, in those areas right now, signage, how some of the signs are blocking each other, speed, and some sight distance. So this is a great opportunity for us to connect with those community members, and we took a lot of those messages back with us. So how are we going to do that work? How are we going to implement that path moving forward? We're going to be working with CATS, that's the Kalamazoo Area Transportation Study. That's our metropolitan planning organization. We have a project in your current CIP for 2028. That's the Howard Street Road Diet or Howard Street 4 to 3 lane conversion. Staff are working now to bring that project from 2028 forward to 2027. We're also working with the Safe Routes to School project to kind of deliver those projects together. Coordination between those two projects offers some enhancements of that crossing. So if you look at Howard right now, that's a 4-lane cross-section. We've got this project in 2027 to make that a 3-lane cross-section. So if we can kind of build these projects together, we can build a crossing that meets the community needs in a 3-lane cross-section as opposed to a 4-lane cross-section. We've got room in the budget to support that work. If you go into your capital improvement program that is available online, that details out projects specifically by name and then by year. And so if you look for Howard Street and you look for the Safe Routes to School and you understand that we're going to move some things to align them vertically in 2027, we've got over $2 million dedicated to Howard Street in this location between Oakland Drive and Park Street. So this is right in the middle of it, and certainly a great opportunity for some improvement. We also heard from the community that communication was a gap. So we've got a commitment to provide continuous updates to the community members. We've got email chain now that we have developed, and we're going to be providing updates to community members when there are updates, and we're going to continue to communicate at regular intervals. So if we go 3 months and we haven't communicated, we're going to send an update and say, hey, it's been 3 months, we haven't talked, there's no updates, here's where we left off. So how do we bring this all forward? Our recommendation is that recommendation that's in front of you to approve that MDOT contract, which is these two projects together. We're then going to work with our design teams to make those changes to that Howard at Merrill crossing. Those changes will be handled contractually via contract supplementals and change orders prior to that goal of construction in 2027. Also want to touch on that Winchell piece of it, those sidewalks. Again, this is the same contract. This stuff is packaged together. We're focusing on the south side of Winchell where there's no sidewalks. So those sidewalks are proposed to run from Rambling Road all the way down to Oakland Drive. The project includes all sorts of things that normally incorporate sidewalk placement. So there's grading, tree removals, ADA upgrades, and crosswalk. This project could kick off this fall, limited work such as tree removals and grading, and then substantial completion would be open by the fall of 2027. So Winchell could start before that Howard and Merrill, but they're kind of aligned together with both of them seeing substantial completion in 2027. So with that, turn it back over to you, Mayor, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Baker. Appreciate all the information. Questions, Commissioners? Vice Mayor Duncan.
So thank you for the wonderful presentation. So last time this was reported on, the question simply was, will we be able to alter the plan for that stop? Is that still in place or not?
Yes.
So then the point of engaging the community around the design of this is what?
So to your point, to alter the location of that pedestrian crossing, the intention of continuous community engagement is to finalize where we want that crossing to be, so that location. So we've got kind of, I would say, 3 alternatives right now that are pretty popular. One of those is the crossing at Merrill itself where it is right now, and to improve upon that. There's another alternative that would be just west, 100 feet or so west, broadly speaking. Another very popular option is about 100 feet east. We're hearing a lot from community members about the path the children take as they come across Merrill and then how they go into the school themselves. So we've learned a lot about that. So we don't have that finalized. And so that's really kind of the goal, to continue to work with the community, to come back to them and say, here are all the options, benefits of each one of these 3 locations, and here's what we can do here, and here's what we can do there, and really kind of continue to coalesce down to a final recommendation.
Sorry, I just want to be clear. So the plan can be altered?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Pradel.
Director Baker, I just want to summarize this as concisely as I can, just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So with working with Kalamazoo Area Transportation Study, CATS, as the acronym showed up there, we were able to negotiate to move the construction timeline from 2028, move it closer so it happens in 2027. So then we're going to push, the idea is that then we push the planned safe routes to school to better align with that project timeline so that they both occur in 2027 now instead of happen separately with a year and some change separating those. Winchell, however, the Winchell, the south right away, that would still proceed hopefully as soon as this fall. So I just want to make sure I understand that correctly.
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. The second thing I was wondering as well is, so we talked a little bit about this at the last meeting, but let's say hypothetically, we feel like we have a pretty good consensus. We try something. We just finished through 2027. We've got the new 3-lane road, bless you. We've got the 3-lane road, and then we realize after doing it, something's not working correctly. Is there an opportunity to recalibrate that afterwards if we say discover that something didn't work as we had hoped?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. I think that is it for now. And then basically the reason we need to still proceed with this tonight is just because we don't want to lose out on the opportunity for the enhanced capacity building dollars with our match tied to it, if I understand correctly.
Correct. And I want to touch back to the Vice Mayor's initial question. So by moving forward and accepting this project and moving forward, that starts the wheels in motion, and then we have the ability to enact the change order and contract supplemental to, get what we want, so to speak, of that crossing, where it's going to be, what does it look like, all that sort of thing. If we said no tonight, then everything just goes
out the door
into the wastebasket.
Got it.
And so there's no opportunity to change the crossing location. It's just in the wastebasket.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Commissioner Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Director Baker. Piggybacking off of Commissioner Pradel's comments there, I know you mentioned that we'll have the possibility to change it, if we go down the line and see that it's not as effective as we'd hope. Will we be doing any kind of piloting or in regards to implementation, or are we just going to decide and go right forward?
So I think to answer that, I do want to touch on some of the things we're doing right now. So there are pilots happening all throughout the city. Some of those are including the use of rapid flashing beacons. Those are in the intersection right now, so we are getting information from that. We're currently piloting some speed countermeasures out there, the smiley faces, things like that. So there is things happening that we're getting data from and we're reacting to it, but specifically for our design pathway to select the alternative, which I referenced, there's kind of like 3 top picks right now. We do not have a plan to pilot, a leader and then construct it. We're really going to work through, our plan is to work through design, work through community input, which includes Kalamazoo Public Schools, and then design that and incorporate that in the 2027 project.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So we're piloting components of the 3 alternatives all around the city right now, taking that feedback and modifying our alternatives accordingly.
I will say, in full disclosure, one of the alternatives that we're looking at for this site is a hawk. There is a plan to install a hawk at a different location in the city, but the timing of those might not allow for a full study before we go to this one. So hawk is one of those items, and a hawk is a signal that and a bird, yeah. It's a signal that changes color. It'll actually give drivers a red signal to stop, and it counts down to that, and then it gives the pedestrians the signal to go across. So there's a plan to install one of those throughout the city, but the timing of it wouldn't allow for further study. Hawks do exist in our area. There's a hawk locally down in the city of Portage on Oakland Drive, just south of Millam. So there are, in our regional area, there are hawks that we can use that data from and get information.
That sounds interesting. I'm going to take a drive down there on my way home tonight.
Yeah, to really interact with it, you need a pedestrian to come out and push the button. So
I'll park and check it out. All right,
Yeah.
we got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Other questions, commissioners? Yeah, Commissioner Prado.
I do have one question. I have learned over the last 6.5 years, because you've done such a great job of educating us, is that there's like the 3 E's of how we interact with the roadways. So engineering, education, and enforcement, right? So there's a lot of education going on with each of us right now. There's some engineering work going on here, but I know that there's been some attempts at enforcement, but I question if there's anything from city manager's office or chief's team, if they would consider looking at maybe some intermediary options, or if it's possible to look at selective enforcement in those areas to try to slow things down, or more presence to have crossing support there in the mornings, something along those lines in the meantime, until we get to the point where we're able to make the actual engineering changes, if you will.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would almost bet that the chief has been doing some things in the area or has directed, but I'll let him speak to any of the current efforts that they've had in the area. But yes, to answer your question, we could do some intermediate action.
I know the good example at Lover's Lane, when that instance happened where there's the crossing guard that was hit with people going high for a period, there was pretty concentrated enforcement there, and that really seemed to help around that school area in that period.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor and Commissioners. When I was at the first meeting where this issue was brought up, and I heard so many residents talking about concerns at that crossing there, I brought it to my team, and we started doing direct patrols in there. So hopefully residents in that area have seen an increase in presence during the time when school is starting and when it's getting out in the afternoon. So I'll just redouble those efforts and make sure we continue to do that direct patrol on Howard Hill. Actually, Howard Hill was closed today, but when it's open again, we'll make sure we do that again.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions, colleagues? All right, seeing none, thank you so much, gentlemen. Really, really appreciate it. No more questions from commission here. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this item H1? If so, please come forward to the podium, give us your name, whether you live in the city. You'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
Outside right now. It's really coming down outside.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Todd Ellis. I'm a resident of the Winchell neighborhood. I am a parent of a former Winchell elementary student and a current Maple Street Magnet School student. And I am the vice president of the Maple Street Parent-Teacher Student Organization. I'm here tonight in support of the resolution. This resolution is going to advance improvements on both Winchell and Howard streets. Those improvements will keep kids like mine safer as they walk to and from school. Middle school students walking to Maple Street are at particular risk. We ask them to walk to school, leaving home at 6:30 in the morning or even earlier. It's dark much of the year at that time. And while they're walking in the dark, they could be also dealing with foggy conditions in the valley and wearing dark clothes because they like to wear what they want to wear, and makes them very hard to see. I'm excited about improving the sidewalks in Winchell to keep students away from fast-moving traffic. That's important. But the Howard Street crossing is more important. A similar crosswalk was installed across Oakland Drive at the top of Maple Street Hill not too long ago. And I can tell you firsthand that in the dark of the morning, you often cannot see those students unless the beacons go on. And that gets people to stop. And sometimes people ignore it, but there have been close calls avoided because of those beacons. I think Howard Street is probably more dangerous. Traffic can pick up too much speed going down that hill. If we give them the time to react, they have the opportunity to slow down and stop when students are approaching the crosswalk. Our students deserve a safe way to cross, with beacons that clearly alert drivers to their presence and require them to stop. I also understand that, of course, that this project has to move forward tonight because we could otherwise lose the federal funding and the whole project. Our students have faced danger far too long. We should not let this opportunity to protect them and to make them safer slip away. I urge you to pass this resolution tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ellen Foley, and I'm currently the president of the PTSO, that is the Parent Teacher Student Organization at Maple Street Magnet School for the Arts. And I am here as well to encourage the Commission to approve the MDOT contract for the improvements through the Safe Routes to School program, specifically at the Howard and Merrill intersection. Every morning and afternoon, middle schoolers at Maple Street face a crossing that is not designed with their safety in mind. The intersection sits at the bottom of Howard where cars naturally pick up speed. It's 4 lanes wide, which means even when one driver does the right thing and stops for a pedestrian who wants to cross at that intersection, there are still 3 other lanes where drivers may not see the student or may not stop in time. I've experienced this myself. I've stopped to let students cross, watching them step forward in front of my car cautiously, only to start waving my hands frantically at them to not cross because the car I can see in my rearview mirror is flying down Howard, and with my car, the kids can't see that car coming at them. In that moment, you realize just how close we are to a tragedy at that intersection. Middle schoolers are wonderful and curious, but they're also still kids. Distractible, forgettable, prepubescent, sometimes oblivious kids. They're thinking about their friends, their homework, and the day ahead. They shouldn't have to calculate traffic patterns across 4 lanes of speeding cars just to get to school. A safe route to school shouldn't depend on luck or perfect timing. It should depend on thoughtful design. This is an opportunity for us to make small but meaningful changes that slow drivers down and make it obvious that children are crossing here every day. Because when we design our streets with our kids in mind, we send a clear message about our own values, that safety matters, that their safety matters, that their independence matters, and that getting to school safely should be simple. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Stephanie Watkins, President of the Oakland Drive Winchell Neighborhood Association, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of our neighborhood in strong support of the approval of the MDOT contract, specifically for the sidewalks on the south side of Winchell Avenue through the Safe Routes to School program. This project directly advances the written goals and the priorities contained in our Imagine Winchell neighborhood plan. Under our plan's Connected Neighborhood and Connected City chapters, our neighborhood specifically calls for improving non-motorized connectivity and safety, increasing traffic and intersection safety, implementing safe routes to school, and repairing and maintaining infrastructure. The proposed installation of a sidewalk on the south side of Winchell between Oakland and Rambling, along with the associated safety enhancements, is precisely the type of infrastructure our neighborhood identifies as a top priority. In addition to the proposed sidewalk, the improvements include the curb ramps, pavement markings, the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. These improvements enhance visibility, shorten crossing distances, and create a safer environment, not only for students, but also for seniors, parents with strollers, and all residents who choose to walk. Importantly, this project leverages federal funding through the Transportation Alternatives Program and the Safe Routes to School program, bringing outside dollars into our community to implement goals that our neighborhood has already identified through a robust planning process. Enough time has been spent waiting for this funding and this project, and we urge you to move forward rather than risk losing this funding. The ODWNA has long supported thoughtful investments that strengthen pedestrian safety while respecting neighborhood character, and this project does exactly that. Thank you for your commitment to improving Kalamazoo neighborhood safety, connectivity, and walkability. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Shirley Freeman, and I live on the south side of Winchell Avenue in a home whose yard will be impacted by the proposed new sidewalk, but I speak in support of the project, in spite of the fact that people will be walking through my yard and I'll have 40 more feet of snow clearing to do in the winter. But I do prioritize a walkable neighborhood and a walkable city. In my opinion, anything we can do to promote walking and reduce driving is a good investment. And I do care very much for the many, many children who must cross Winchell without a crossing guard and with, at random locations along the street on their way to and from school. Viewing the project through the narrow lens of my life is one thing, but if I step back and view the project through the wider lens of our lives, I believe the sidewalk project on the south side of Winchell will be a good long-term benefit. Besides pedestrian safety and walkability, a sidewalk will promote civic engagement as people will have more opportunity to be face-to-face with their neighbors. Please support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
I'm Margaret Wilson, neighborhood of the city, resident of the city. I live in the Vine neighborhood. Right now, a lot of things feel really hard in the world, and a lot of really terrible things are happening. And when I look around the country, I see all kinds of democratic institutions kind of failing. And I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for giving us the gift of this month and lifting up such a shining example of democracy working the way that it should. The gift of this month has let the city and the neighborhood work together to find the safest solutions. And so I want to thank you guys, and I want to also thank all the city staff that I know worked so hard this month to come to the table and to put aside the work that they had already done and be willing to do more hard work to find the safest solutions for our kids and to really listen and hear us. And that wouldn't have been possible if they weren't willing to do it, and it wouldn't have been possible if you guys weren't willing to do it. And I feel really confident that going forward, we're gonna find solutions that work as safe as they possibly can for all these kids at Maple and for all the people in my neighborhood. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Christina Anderson. I want to thank you, Manager Hankins, for being willing to have your staff do this extra work. I want to thank C. Mall. I want to thank Nolan Bergstrom. I want to thank Dennis Randolph. And I want to thank Director Baker, whose first name I always forget, so I just call him Director like that's his first name. Sorry, Director Baker. And I don't have a lot of neighbors here today because for some reason everyone is at the hospital or something. But I feel really confident saying that I speak for the majority of my neighbors who engaged so actively with the process. We had a really great turnout for all of the meetings, that we are happy with this and we support this going forward, and we're really happy to see that both Maple and Winchell are going to get the things they need for their kids to be safe. So just like from the bottom of this mother's heart, thank you. You have made the world a better place, even if it's just this one little corner that happens to literally be my corner. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Good
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Christopher Bovid. I'm a resident of the city of Kalamazoo. I'm here to speak in support of the proposed MDOT contract for the Safe Routes to School improvement along Winchell Avenue and Howard Street, both as a resident and as the parent of 2 children in the Kalamazoo Public Schools. One of my children attends Winchell Elementary and regularly walks to school through our neighborhood south of the building. Right now, the absence of a sidewalk on the south side of Winchell Avenue, arguably the busiest internal street on that side of the neighborhood, means children are pushed into the roadway during the busiest times of day at drop-off and pickup. That becomes even more hazardous in winter when snow and ice narrow the available walking space, and buses, cars, and delivery vehicles are constantly stopping, turning, and pulling in and out. A sidewalk there would provide a predictable, protected space for students and a clearer visual cue to drivers that children are present. My other child attends Maple Street Middle School and also walks to and from school, including early mornings in late fall and winter when it's still dark. South of Winchell, there are very few east-west pedestrian routes that work safely for students. Extending safe walking infrastructure along Winchell would materially improve student safety and connectivity. I also support the proposed Howard Street crossing improvements. My Maple Street student participates in cross-country and track teams at the school, and those teams do service work all along the north side of Howard, including trash cleanups in the wooded areas. That means students are crossing Howard repeatedly. Any well-designed improvement that gives pedestrians a safer crossing there is worthwhile, including the proposed crosswalk and pedestrian island. I understand there's been concerns about the precise locations of the crossing and island, but I would just urge the commission, not only in this matter, but for projects going forward as well. I know we've had other issues in Winchell and other areas in the past with project placement and design, but I would strongly urge the commission to give substantial weight to the professional judgment of the city's traffic engineers who have the training, experience, and technical responsibility to evaluate safety, sightlines, traffic operations, and school access. For those reasons, I respectfully urge you to approve the contract and allow this work to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to comment on this item? It's item H1 on the regular agenda. Seeing no more comments, Commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Duncan.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hess. Discussion, Commissioners? Vice Mayor? No? Commissioner Prado?
I just want to thank, again, city staff and folks who engaged with this process as well. It's refreshing to see these outcomes when it happens this way. It does not always turn out this way, and I am grateful that it has, but it only happens this way when everybody is willing to lean in and try something a little bit different. So thank you for everybody for being willing to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Prado. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Prado?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next, reports and legislation. City Manager Hankins, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick acknowledgement of you all for the work that we were able to do this weekend at the retreat. I appreciate the time you took to do the pre-work and also the engagement during the process. I do also appreciate that I was able to hear from you and get some perspective of your priorities, how you see things. Believe me, I took a lot of notes, so I thank you all for being willing to share your heart, share what you feel is a priority. I want you to also know I've already sent you a survey, so if you haven't seen it yet, hopefully it's not too long, but that'll allow us to capture your thoughts in a more formalized way and then come back to you with some more strategic and operational objectives based on your priorities. So thank you. I also want to send out an appreciation to the staff who worked before, during, and after this event. A lot goes into planning this, and a lot goes into everything from seating, which we did make an amendment during the process, but planning the site and food and anything that you can imagine that we take for granted. I want to thank the staff for the work that they did during the retreat. So, just one other thing I'll share. I've continued to do my work to try to connect with the community. I want to acknowledge and share my appreciation for having an opportunity to be welcome at 2 events since our last meeting. One hosted by Kabundon and Ford Ventures, and another on behalf of Isaac. Again, the community has been very intentional about welcoming me into spaces and allowing me to share with them who I am and my family. So I want to share thank you again to the community for welcoming us. Sit there.
Thank you, Manager Hankins. I appreciate it. Now is the opportunity for commissioner comments. And just a reminder, we do have a closed session this evening. Attorney Leal, I believe we will not be coming back for action after that closed session. Is that correct?
I think it is the HR director's intent not to come back.
Not to come back? Yes. Okay. So that does mean that our agenda will continue, albeit in a closed session, after our comments here. Commissioners, anybody interested? Vice Mayor Duncan?
Just want to reiterate what everybody has said about the staff. Thank you so much for the hard work. Coming out on the weekend on a Saturday is tough, and doing it all day is even tougher. So thank you so much for all the hard work, putting that together. Definitely, Commissioner Pradell enjoyed the food. So it was insightful and enjoyable to get the opportunity to talk to my colleagues about the future of our city. So first year as an elected official, getting the opportunity to participate in, even though we were there all day, it just still wasn't enough time to really talk about everything that we want and need to do. So thank you. Thank you so much for a great event, staff and city manager. Lastly, to the parents that showed up about this crosswalk, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words. And this is a reminder that this government particularly belongs to you. So please continue to engage with us and tell us what it is you want to see in your community and how you want us to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Duncan. Other comments, commissioners? Commissioner Hess.
Sure. Hey, so I have some mailings or some things to remind us of here. There's some communications available. I think out on the ledge here, there's the Caring for the Kazoo 26. It's a cleanup along the Kalamazoo River on the 28th of March, Saturday, March 28th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Mayor's Riverfront Park. Please be a part of that community. There's a lot of groups that are already volunteering, which is wonderful. I stopped into Factory Coffee over here on Level Street, and they have a good newspaper. So just in case you're wondering, there is good news in Kalamazoo, and this is really wonderful. So anytime you stop by Factory Coffee, please feel free to pick up the good newspaper, and there's all kinds of wonderful things from recipes to good things happening in the city and county of Kalamazoo. That was just a wonderful surprise to me. Let's keep giving good news to one another. And then this week, everybody who lives in Kalamazoo should have gotten these in their mailbox, the City View with all this information, and the stuff that we end up voting on here is actually going into print, and we're letting you know what we're doing to build a better Kalamazoo. So please read that City View and stay up on the things that are happening in our city. And then also for the season, the View from the Curb. This one is for spring and summer of 2026. It's about big garbage pickups, yard waste pickups, hydrant flushing, bulk trash pickup. There's all kinds of information in here. I just love reading this thing cover to cover. So we have so much happening with and for the environment here in Kalamazoo, and it's here. And actually, the composting program that's happening is really wonderful for me. I'm just excited about all of that. So there's that. Also, thank you, City Manager, and all staff who were a part of that retreat on Saturday. I love a good retreat. Lastly, Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, Sergeant Morales always is hosting now a monthly meeting with the unhoused, the people that work with and for the unhoused in the city of Kalamazoo, a monthly meeting where there's a rather deep dive into the information, into the data, and to how we might be most effective in working with and for the in-house community. So for those who are wondering what's going on, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I want to thank our public safety and especially our community service team who works intentionally with the unhoused population for their work on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Commissioner Prano?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give a shout out. I try to give a shout out to city staff whenever they are doing neat and spectacular things, but Deputy City Manager Rebecca Kick was not only within 1 week was one of the featured artists at Downtown Art Hop, but also gave one of the, I think, 6 TED Talks, Kalamazoo TED Talks at the Epic Center, I think, on Friday. So it's really neat to see all the incredible things that our city team does just outside of work that is impressive. So congratulations on that. The other thing as well, we've been thanking city staff for a lot of their work and community as well, but one area I really want to give thanks as well is I think it's been 13 Design It meetings, if I'm not mistaken, so far. A lot of them, and there are some weeks where there are 2 or 3 of them that are happening in 1 week's time on top of everything else that's going. And I know I have been challenged to try to attend all of them, and there are a number of city staff folks who I think have been a part of almost every single one of them. And I just really want to thank them for being a part of that and for community coming out to be a part of those as well. I have so far heard very good feedback about that, and I know that there's still sessions planned for campus, for WMU, and for downtown as well, so and online as well. So be on the lookout for those. I just wanted to make a comment about the retreat on Saturday. Again, I really appreciated that opportunity to do it, and I did love the warm chicken salad, Vice Mayor. But I wanted to make sure that I lifted up something, because when the facilitators met with us one-on-one, one of the things they asked us is, what does success look like at the end of the event? And for me, the success has been that I walk out and I can confidently give an elevator pitch of the top priorities that we feel like we're going into for the year. Because if I can give that spiel in the trip of an elevator, then I feel like the community, each other, senior leadership, city staff has clarity about what we're doing. And I do not believe we were able to achieve that at the end of the retreat, to be honest. However, I will say that I think that it was not wasted time. I appreciated the ability to give ourselves extra time to get to where we need to go, because there is sometimes a propensity when you get at that really good work and that important work that we rush it and we give that sense of urgency and then we miss something, or we're not as thoughtful as we could be. And so I really appreciate the chance to take the time afterwards to give some more thought, in-depth thought to that and submit it. And I really appreciate City Manager Hankins, how quickly you and the team were able to send us that survey so we can get to work with that and not lose any momentum afterwards. So in my book, I think we made a lot of really good progress. I felt like I learned a lot about what was on everyone's hearts and minds, and hearing that was super helpful, and I feel like we're still going to achieve what we set out to do. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. Anyone else? Commissioner comments? All right, thank you so much. Hey, I wanted to mention something that I think is a bit unique, which is happening here in Kalamazoo. Actually, there's a lot of unique things that have and still continue to happen here in Kalamazoo. And I went to an event that was sponsored by really one of the largest black-owned venture capital firms in the country, KZ Forward Ventures here, and they sponsored, it was an open meeting that they held over in the Catalyst Center. And this is the premise. A lot of folks come to them wanting startup money. And I would say almost 2/3 of the people that come looking for startup money have literally no revenue in the business they're thinking about starting. So this is startup that's really a conceptual startup sort of a thing, rather than something that's begin to demonstrate maybe some traction already and need some assistance. And they've been grappling with how to, how to best relate to that. And I don't know if this has happened any other place. I thought it was a bit of genius when I heard about it. Dwayne Powell is particularly leading this effort over there. But the effort is this idea, this is the premise, that I think it's 10,000 people a day, is that right, are turning 65 here in this country, and there is a vast, what's that?
11,000 boomers retiring every day.
11,000 retiring every day. Thank you for the actual exact data. And many, many small businesses that do not have a succession plan. Some do, but I think well more than half do not have a succession plan, which means that small businesses can close, perhaps be bought out by some larger statewide or regional business, but that they're calling it the silver tsunami. And the idea is that they're going to be working, training cohorts of people who are interested in business, have the hustle for business, have that energy to be self-employed, and help get people ready, perhaps, to acquire one of those businesses as someone else is choosing to retire. And there may be other places this is happening in the country, I'm not aware, but to me, this seems like a genius idea. And I will just say, I guess I'm talking about this, excuse me, for two reasons. Think about people in Kalamazoo that have a small business, maybe something you've built, maybe even not that small, but something you've built over the course of your life, and you want to see it continue, but maybe if you have children, they've gone on to do other things. There's not an obvious, really recipient to kind of pick up the mantle and keep going. Think about this opportunity and the help that could come through KZ Forward Ventures here in town. And I just want to talk to the people who got some hustle and some spark and don't mind working that extra effort because they want to build something and grow something themselves and have the opportunity to lead and be self-employed. And this, to me, a part of it is a little bit of a shift change. You know, we always say to people in this way, well, just do the thing you love. You know, whatever that is, do the thing you love. And I get that, but sometimes that may or may not be an actual viable business opportunity there. And maybe you love something about designing glass, but then maybe on the other hand, there is a small glass business that is for sale that is going to require you to shift your thinking a little bit and take that energy that you have about business and being creative in that business and think about, hey, here's something that already exists, and I can build something on this and maybe build more specific things I love into it that I want to do, but this is a real opportunity to not start from zero. Related to that, this cohort, they're looking for people that want to sign up for it right now. I would go to their website. They're going to be starting, I forget the number, but at least a couple dozen, maybe more folks who are interested in going through a training period about getting ready for these kinds of opportunities, while at the same time, they're looking for where the opportunities are. So one thing I really like about this is that, I mean, we're lucky in Kalamazoo that we've got so much philanthropy money around. And let's just think about just tonight in this room. We recognize guys who give over $500,000. Guys getting together on a quarterly basis. I mean, and just over and over again, you look at philanthropy, and I have to say a lot of people come to me and they say, hey, I want to start a nonprofit. Mayor, how can you help me get started on a nonprofit? And part of what our intent here about a lot of things that happen in Kalamazoo, talking about the promise or other things, is addressing intergenerational poverty. And it's great to have programs to help, but on the other side of that, it's also great if we can help people get into place of making some decent money. And maybe our future cohort of philanthropists in Kalamazoo is going to look very different from what our current cohort of philanthropists look like. And I think, I mean, a lot of things have happened. You could say it's a big dream, this won't ever happen, or that won't work. And I suppose you could look at this and think, oh my goodness, how are you going to pull this off? But I do think we pull off big things in Kalamazoo. And I want to think on both sides of this line here, people who are interested in building a business, working on a business that they can be proud of, and people that want to see a business that they have built and they're proud of, and they want to see that in some hands. And this isn't giveaway stuff. This is how do we purchase and acquire these businesses, and that is the work of Forward Ventures to help facilitate that. Think on those things. So right now, we need a motion to go into closed session. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Duncan.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. We will not be coming back into open session. I love you, Kalamazoo. We are adjourned.